Met him in North Carolina a couple years ago.
The camera pans over a dimly lit room. A woman sits by a cracked mirror, her fingers tracing the lines on her face. The faint hum of a distant melody fills the air, a song that's unmistakably hers. Nicki Minaj stares at her reflection, her eyes heavy with emotion. In her hand, she clutches a photograph of a younger self, a reminder of the girl who faced unimaginable trials before the world knew her name. Her voice breaks the silence, soft but laced with resolve. There were days I didn't think I'd make it. Days when the pain felt bigger than the dream. But here I am. The scene shifts to flashes of her past. A young girl running barefoot on the sunlit streets of Trinidad and Tobago, her laughter echoing in the vibrant neighborhoods. Born Onika Tanya Mirage on December 8, 1982, Nicki's childhood was a mix of joy and turbulence. At home, the shadows of a strained family dynamic loomed. Seeking better opportunities, her parents made the life-altering decision to move to Queens, New York. But the land of dreams didn't offer solace right away. Instead, it became the backdrop to her deepest struggles. As the lights of New York City glimmered, so did Nicki's resolve to rise above her circumstances. Unbeknownst to the world, behind the bold persona and fierce rhymes lay a young woman who carried the weight of heartbreak, betrayal, and survival. This is the untold story of how Nicki Minaj rose from pain to power. You see the fame, her voice echoes, but they'll never know the cost. At 19, Onika Tanya Mirage, known to her friends simply as Nicki, was like many young women chasing their dreams in Queens, New York. The dream of making it in the music industry burned brightly within her, but life wasn't easy. By day, she juggled odd jobs to help support her family. By night, she scribbled lyrics in her notebook, pouring her soul into rhymes that spoke of hope and ambition. Her world, however, was far from perfect. Beneath the facade of determination lay the scars of a turbulent home life. Her father's struggles with addiction had left the family fractured, and Nicki carried the weight of wanting to escape her circumstances. At this tender age, she placed her trust in a classmate, someone she thought understood her dreams and vulnerabilities. But that trust was shattered. What began as a friendship turned into a betrayal that would haunt her for years to come. Nicki discovered she was pregnant, a revelation that brought her life to a standstill. For a young woman already navigating a world of challenges, this was a curveball she wasn't prepared for. That's when Marissa recounted how, after her daughter was taken from her, Nicki looked for ways to have the connection with her daughter that had once restored her health. The decision to terminate the pregnancy was agonizing. Nicki was barely making ends meet and could see no path to providing a stable life for herself, let alone a child. The experience was harrowing, leaving her grappling with a complex mix of guilt, grief, and self-doubt. "I was just a kid myself," she later admitted in an interview. "I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't think I had a choice." The aftermath of the abortion was equally isolating. The classmate who had betrayed her disappeared from her life, leaving her to pick up the pieces alone. Nicki turned to her music as a way to process her emotions. Her lyrics became darker, rawer, a reflection of her pain and anger. But rather than letting the experience break her, Nicki began to channel her trauma into resilience. She promised herself that her pain wouldn't define her future. Instead, it would fuel her ambition to rise above the chaos. "I realized the world didn't owe me anything," she once said. "If I wanted to survive, I had to fight for it." This pivotal moment became a turning point. It hardened her resolve to make something of herself, no matter the cost. Little did she know, the battles ahead would test her strength even further. The streets of Queens were alive with possibility, yet every step forward felt like an uphill climb for Nicki. At 20, she was determined to make her mark in the music world, armed with nothing but her voice, her pen, and an unyielding drive. She spent hours writing and rehearsing, her lyrics laced with raw emotion. Behind every rhyme was a story of betrayal, heartbreak, and an unrelenting will to survive. Music wasn't just a passion for her, it was an escape from the pain that haunted her. But dreams alone couldn't pay the bills. Nicki worked odd jobs, from waitressing to clerical work, often facing humiliation from bosses who dismissed her aspirations as childish fantasies. Financial struggles loomed large, and she frequently had to choose between buying food and investing in studio time. Societal pressures weighed heavily on her. As a young Black woman in a male-dominated industry, she was constantly underestimated and overlooked. She fought to prove herself in every rap battle, her sharp words cutting through the noise of doubt around her. But even as she climbed, her past lingered. Nicki's trauma from the abortion and the betrayal by her classmates still lingered like a shadow, often creeping into her thoughts during quiet moments. She kept these battles hidden, presenting a tough exterior to the world while silently battling anxiety and self-doubt. What set her apart was her ability to transform her pain into power. Each setback became another verse in her story. Her early mixtapes, recorded in makeshift studios with limited resources, carried the energy of a woman fighting for her life. Tracks like Dirty Money and Can't Stop, Won't Stop captured her fierce determination to break free from her circumstances. I had to teach myself that my worth wasn't tied to where I came from or what I'd been through, she reflected later. Nicki's resilience was unshakable. She was building not just a career, but a legacy, a testament to the strength it took to rise above the chaos. However, her darkest battles were still ahead, waiting to test her in ways she could never imagine. It was a night that would forever be etched in Nicki's memory, a haunting chapter that no amount of time could erase. At 22, she had been walking home from a late-night recording session. The city's vibrant energy had dimmed, replaced by the eerie quiet of empty streets. What followed was a nightmare she never saw coming. Four men, their faces a blur of malice and cruelty, cornered her in an alley. Her pleas for mercy fell on deaf ears as they robbed her of her safety and dignity. The terror, the helplessness, it was a moment that shattered her world. The days that followed felt like a blur. Nicki withdrew from everyone, retreating into herself. The lively, ambitious woman her friends knew was replaced by someone silent and distant. Music, once her refuge, now felt hollow. But the nightmare wasn't over. Weeks later, Nicki discovered she was pregnant again, a devastating revelation that reopened wounds she had barely begun to heal. The weight of the decision she now faced threatened to crush her. I felt like my life was over, she would later admit in a rare interview. I didn't know how to move forward. The world around her continued as if nothing had happened, but inside, Nicki was crumbling. She grappled with shame, anger, and an overwhelming sense of despair. For weeks, she battled an internal storm, questioning her worth and her ability to ever find peace. But somewhere in the depths of her pain, a spark remained. Nicki refused to let this moment define her. She sought help, turning to therapy for the first time in her life. Slowly, she began to reclaim her voice, channeling her trauma into her music. Each lyric became a battle cry, each verse a declaration of her survival. I wasn't gonna let them win, she said. If I had to crawl out of that darkness, I would. Nicki ultimately chose not to carry the pregnancy to term, a decision made amidst immense pain and reflection. While it broke her heart, it also reignited her determination to rise above the tragedy. She realized that her future still held the promise of greatness, even if the path there was steep and unforgiving. Her music during this time took on a raw intensity. Songs became her outlet, a place where she could express the depth of her anger and grief. She began collaborating with underground artists, slowly gaining recognition for her undeniable talent and ferocious drive. I learned that I had to take my pain and turn it into my power, she later said. Though the scars of that night would never completely fade, Nicki emerged stronger, more focused, and fiercely determined to create a life that no one could take from her. Her journey wasn't just about survival, it was about transformation. The girl who once doubted her worth was now building a foundation for the global icon she was destined to become. The pain Nicki endured became the fuel for a transformation unlike anything she had imagined. At 23, she stood at a crossroads, either let her past define her or use it as the fire to ignite her future. She chose the latter. Welcome, Whitney. Nicki's trauma had taught her one unshakable truth. She could rely only on herself to carve a path to success. Armed with that belief, she threw herself entirely into her music. The rawness of her experiences bled into her lyrics, giving her songs an emotional depth that was impossible to ignore. The pain, anger, and resilience she carried were evident in every verse, every beat, and every performance. Her first major breakthrough came when she released her early mixtapes, Playtime Is Over and Sucka Free, which showcased her fearless lyricism and unique style. These projects were more than just music. They were declarations of her strength and independence. Songs like Autobiography told the world about the battles she had fought, offering a glimpse of the woman behind the mic. Nicki also began to cultivate a new persona, bold, colorful, and unapologetically herself. This reinvention wasn't just a marketing strategy, it was a shield, a way to reclaim her identity and control her narrative. She didn't rise alone. Along the way, a handful of mentors and collaborators recognized her talent and supported her. Safari Samuels, her then partner, was one of the few people who stood by her, encouraging her to keep pushing forward. Her persistence paid off when rapper Lil Wayne discovered her mixtapes. Impressed by her talent, he signed her to Young Money Entertainment, a pivotal moment in her career. The deal with Young Money was the turning point Nicki had been waiting for. It gave her the platform she needed to reach a broader audience, and she seized the opportunity with unrelenting determination. Nicki's rise wasn't just about music. It was about survival. She channeled the darkness of her past into the brightness of her future, proving to herself and the world that she was unstoppable. The girl from Queens who had faced unimaginable pain was now on the path to becoming a global superstar. Nicki Minaj's journey from a young girl navigating heartbreak and trauma to a global icon is nothing short of extraordinary. She endured unimaginable pain, betrayal, loss, and violence that could have easily broken her spirit, but Nicki refused to let her struggles define her. Instead, she transformed her pain into power, using her music as a vessel to share her truth and reclaim her voice. Her rise wasn't easy. The path was filled with setbacks, sleepless nights, and moments of self-doubt. Yet Nicki's resilience became her greatest weapon. She showed the world that no matter how dark the night, there is always a way to find light. Her lyrics, raw and unfiltered, became anthems for anyone who has ever felt unseen, unheard, or underestimated. In May of 2021, self-kushed her selfie. Today, Nicki Minaj is more than a rapper or a performer. She is a symbol of strength and reinvention. Her story stands as a testament to the power of perseverance and self-belief. She reminds us that even in our lowest moments, we have the ability to rise, rebuild, and shine brighter than ever. Looking ahead, Nicki's legacy is a beacon of hope for countless individuals facing their own battles. As she once said, "You're stronger than you think, and your story isn't over yet." From the alleys of Queens to the world's biggest stages, Nicki Minaj's journey proves that even the most painful beginnings can lead to triumphs beyond imagination, and this is only the beginning of her remarkable legacy.